Hello, if you're watching this, you're probably on the replay. How are you? My name is Detola Amure, and I'm so excited to be here for another Super Working Mom Convo with a Super Working Mom. Hopefully she will join us soon. Oh, there she is. She's here. Before I add her on, I wanted to say thank you for joining us, or thank you for watching this. This is going to be a great time together. Usually on this segment, what we do is we get to speak to one of our Super Working Mom Academy members to know a little bit about their journey of embracing their calling and also about some of the things they do. So without any further ado, because today is going to be packed, I am going to just invite her on. Right, let me see. How do I do that? I can't find a way to add her. Are you following Super Working Mom? If you're not, please do, because it's not showing me a button to add you. So if you are not, this is interesting. Yeah, okay, yeah. Or you need to request to join. Yes, please request to join, because I can't find a button to add you. Mrs Adegbile. So request to join and I'll add you on. Welcome, Dorica. Welcome, Sheon. Thank you for joining. Please share this with your friends. Share this link. Tell them to come join us. Today is going to be an exciting night together. We're going to have an amazing time getting to know a bit more about Mrs Yemisi Adegbile. So I'm still waiting for you to request to join. How has your day been? Let me know in the comments. So everyone who's joined, how your day has been. One word describing how your day has been. It's Friday, and my one word is yay. Excited. Okay. Still waiting. Can everyone hear me though? Let me check that you can hear me. Can everyone hear me? It's gone quiet. Awesome. Day has been amazing. I'm happy to hear that. Yes, same here. Okay, great. I'm glad you can hear me. Okay. Mrs. Adegbile, we're still waiting for you to request, because I can't add you. Apparently, I thought there was a way I could add. Pin comment, add as moderator. How does that work? No, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to add Adejoke as moderator. Okay, we're still waiting. I'm not even sure how you add someone. So I think you might need to, there should be a request button. Actually, let me see. I should be able to add. Invite to join. Oh, it's still not letting me invite her. I don't know why. Let me see. Nope, it's not giving me an option to invite you to join. This is interesting. Maybe if you're not following Super Working Mom, maybe it might not let me. Yeah, can you help me call her or something? Because I don't know. Because I can see a button to request to join, but it's not showing her. Maybe she's not following. I don't know how these things work. Technology. Yes, Dorica, I'm happy it's Friday as well. Hopefully we'll get this whole thing sorted. Yes, there is a request to join button. So there's also a invite button, but she's not showing up on my list, so I cannot. These are the kind of things we need to. Hello, Bayo. Thanks for joining. We're still trying to get our guest on. Oh, bless. It's been a long day. Left to me, I just want to coil up in my bed, lie down, and because tomorrow is another busy day, and I'm sure the moms watching can tell or can testify that. Hello, ma. Hello, sir. Can testify that Saturdays can also be very busy. Yes, but you need to request to join because I cannot add you for some reason. So there's a request to join button, which hopefully, okay. Yeah, but I don't. Right, so let's see. Yeah, there she is. I've actually invited her. I've invited her as well, so she should be able to join. Yeah, I'm here. Oh. Yeah, so I've invited you now. You should something should come up on your screen saying join or I don't know something. Yeah, I've invited you. If you can see the request to join, I have invited you to join us. Technology, bear with us. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually, and it's going to be worth it. I'm on a call. I'm on a live call. I'm on a live call, darling. Please, can you print it out? Oh, she says you're unable to join. Oh dear. Sorry, I've just got my kids here. Why is it saying unable to join? Oh, come on. Holy Spirit, activate. Hi, Detola. We're trying to get our guests to join. Please click on request to join or click on my invite. Oh, maybe we should have just done YouTube. Oh, bless. Hello. Thanks for joining. How have you been? Long time. We're trying to get our guest on, but for some reason, it's been proving difficult. Oh, it's saying you're unable to join. I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay, what do we do? When technology... Oh, laptop. Why is she on her laptop? No, she needs to be on her phone. Can she? I think it might be better to do this. Yes, phone is definitely better for this. I don't think I've even joined a live session on my laptop before. So definitely phone. Sorry. We should have sorted out use your phone rather than a laptop and all of those stuff. Please bear with us. Hopefully by the time we put this up on YouTube, we'll cut out all the...
Hello.
Sorry. Definitely phone.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Why is that echo?
Oh, I'm really sorry about this.
No worries.
Hold on.
Maybe come out of your laptop.
That's what I'm doing now.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Oh my days, technology.
At least you're here. That's
Yes,
the most
yes.
important thing. You're here
Sorry,
now.
everyone.
Yeah, no worries. It's the conversation is going to be worth it. So thank you for bearing with us, everyone.
It's a pleasure. Sorry.
We're glad to have you on, Mrs Yemisi Adegbile. Thank you for joining. How's your day been?
It's been it's been busy but lovely, I have to say.
That's good. That's good. If you're already on, please share this the link to someone who needs to be here. We're going to be talking about fertility. We're going to be talking about Mrs. Adegbile's journey on the Super Working Mom Academy. Lots of things. So if you know anyone, and I know this is a very sensitive topic, but if you know anyone who probably needs to know more about, fertility and stuff around that, please share this with them, so that they can come join us. Okay. So without any further ado, can you please tell us a little bit about you? Who is Yemisi Adegbile?
Well, so I am a mother of 3 adult children and a wife, and a Christian, a woman who loves Christ, and a woman who is passionate about helping couples who are trying to conceive, and a member of Super Working Mom. I'm proud to be one. Yeah,
that's very important. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Thank you. So, I mean, I like that you shared who you are. You're married. You've got 3 adult children. You're a fertility nurse.
Yes.
You help couples on that journey.
Yes.
So, I'm curious. Have you always wanted to be a fertility nurse? Is this something that you've always known you wanted to be? I want you to walk us through that journey, because I know that a number of women sometimes struggle with knowing what they're meant to do. Some people tend to follow the bandwagon, say, oh, everybody's doing IT, so let me do IT. Everybody's doing nursing, let me do nursing. So have you always known that you wanted to be a fertility nurse? So walk us through that journey. How did you get to a point where you've embraced being a fertility nurse?
Thank you very much. Funny enough, my first degree obviously was sociology. That was way in the 80s, and I've always wanted to be a nurse.
Okay.
But when I came to UK, I was focused. I wanted to, this is what I wanted to do. But what really caught my attention is that when I started my training, I found that I enjoyed women's health. So I did every course, that has to do with women's health. I did family planning, I did sexual health, I did colposcopy, HR, everything that had to do with women's health. And then when IVF came along, it was new back then. So I thought, you know what, let me explore this. And when I got into that field, I loved it, because back then, when it was new, our clinic was just setting up, and on the ward that I used to work as a gynae nurse then, there were recovering fertility patients there. So we used to help out in recovery. So as time went by, I used to visit the clinic and, have a chat. And actually, when I had my daughter, who is now 29, when I went back to maternity leave, I wanted a 9-to-5. So I went and had a chat. I went and visited the clinic to say, you know what, I wanted to 9-to-5. Can I come and have a taster? And, as they say, the rest is history. 30 years later, I'm still here rocking it.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing.
It's wonderful.
Yes. And I think it's always refreshing when when you see a woman who knows what her calling is or what she's meant to be doing. Yeah, bless you. Yeah. It's always refreshing, because even when challenges come, this is your path. So how do you deal with challenges? And we're going to talk about, infertility and some of the things you do, but how do you deal with the ups and downs that has come along with your career and, what you do? Yeah.
To be honest, challenges, or what can I say? I think what has kept me going is knowing fully well that, this is what I enjoy doing. Excuse me.
No worries.
And even when I was looking after the children, I was working part-time, and some of my peers were actually, I was being overlooked, for promotion. But it was a season where I was meant to be there, because at that time, I had to raise my kids. Yeah. So it was so what I did, I kept on preparing myself, making sure, I was getting all the training that I need. I did my degree while I was there. So, and all the courses that came along, I kind of had that background information, because then I was working part-time. And I knew that, the promotion that was, most of the nurses, in fact, all the nurses that were coming after me, I trained them. And it's very difficult, because sometimes, because I knew where I was going, I kind of said, you know what, this is the season where I'm at the moment. So therefore, when things were coming my way, I just knew that, you know what, this is just for a moment. And as the kids grew, I was able to kind of get back into the sync of things. And yeah, but it was tough sometimes, but it was just staying focused to saying it's a season. It's a season.
Yeah. Wow. I like that. And what I'm taking away from what you've just said is, first of all, we all have our seasons, and we shouldn't compare our seasons to someone else's.
Yeah.
And also having a goal, an ultimate goal, knowing that this is where I'm going. Yes, it might take me a while to get there because of the season I'm in, but I know where I'm going.
Yes.
And you've been at it, and now you're there. You're doing it. You're living the life. You are blessing others through your gifts. So this is refreshing to hear. So we're going to talk a bit more. We'll talk later on about your journey with the Super Lucky Mom Academy and all. But I wanted us to touch on what you do, and kind of educate, because if you're not in a situation where you've dealt with infertility, you might not even know much, or it's not in your line of spare, so you're not thinking about it. So I want you to educate us, those who might be waiting, those who are on that journey, and those who are on the other side, who are supporting those that are maybe waiting to have a child, to conceive. So let's talk about what exactly is infertility. We hear it, but what exactly does that mean?
Infertility is when, the general definition is when you've been trying, when a couple have been trying to conceive without using protection for constantly for about over a year.
Okay.
And obviously you're not conceiving. So that is regarded as primary infertility.
Yeah.
And usually the guidelines, which is the NICE guidelines, is normally they would advise for you to go and seek help, do some tests to actually find out if there's anything wrong with either of yourself, so that the appropriate management care can be implemented.
Yeah.
I think what happens is that, and if I were to hone in on specifically to our culture, is that sometimes, obviously when you get married, obviously you're trying to get to know 1 year is passing, all right, and the thing is, it might just be that, financially they can't try for a baby, and by the time you blink, time has passed, and it's like rolling down 5 years down the lane. But the basic definition is that you've been trying for about over a year without using protection, and you have not conceived.
Right. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. That kind of gives some context. So for someone who's been in that position where they've been trying for over a year, they haven't had a child, or they haven't conceived, what will be the next step? What would they need to do?
Yeah, thank you. I think the first thing to do is to, like I said, run some tests. It could just be that the first thing is obviously lifestyle. Sometimes our weight, there could be basic things that are kind of glaring to us. Your weight is actually something that can be of issue of you not conceiving. And as a result of that, some ladies may have some hormonal. So usually the category could be lifestyle. It could be hormonal. Some ladies have got polycystic ovaries, some endometriosis. So those are gynecology issues. Or sometimes it could be mechanical. Mechanical being that, some people find sex quite painful. And so therefore they just don't go there. Right. So and so we see a lot of couples as that. It could be male factor, whereby the men have some medical issue. As a result, it's affecting his sperm, affecting in the libido. So those are kind of the fundamental, without saying much about it. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. So what I'm hearing from you is obviously if you've been in that position where you've been trying for a year or over a year, you need to get tested to see what is going on with, you and your spouse.
Absolutely.
So, but what do you now say to someone who's, a believer, a Christian, they're waiting, they've been standing on the word and all of that, and a part of them is like, no, God is going to do it. What do you say? Because you're a Christian, you're a fertility nurse.
Yes.
How can Christians navigate their faith and, the journey of infertility? How can they navigate that?
Oh, amazing. I actually wrote a blog many, many years ago about faith and fertility. I've looked after so many pastors who have been on, who are actually featuring on TV, and they've actually come behind closed doors and actually had treatment, but they haven't actually shared. And I have nothing. I'm a Bible believing, woman of God. And, as a member of a Super Working Mom, we pray, we have sessions where we pray about women in waiting. So phenomenal, that we do in our prayer time as well. However, when you've prayed, you take action. So just as when we pray in the morning, after we prayed, like you said, we go ahead and do what the needful, whatever God is telling you. And sometimes some people would like to pray just to have that release. And for some it might be immediate, for some it might take a lot longer. So as long as you're not pressured, and the most important thing is that as long as you and your husband are in agreement, so that one person is not going off saying, well, this is it. So it has to be an agreement, because fertility journey in itself is quite a stressful journey, and you need to be in partnership, and once, if it's something that you want to discuss with your pastor, fine, so that you've got prayers all around you. But the most important thing is that you need to move. So we can have the scriptures, and all those things are very good. But at the end of the day, I believe God has created science for the good of humanity. The same way, if your leg breaks, you pray, but you need to see the orthopedic to fix your leg. And that's it. And that's the thing, as we do as a biblical people, faith and works, it works together. And that's how God has, that's how we are in the Bible, and that's what we preach and we pray in our Super Working Mom. We're faith building women. Where we do take action. As well.
Wow, I like that. So faith without works is dead. And that's what the Bible says. Faith, call on God, do all things, but sometimes, not even just sometimes, most times God will give us clear instructions on the steps and action steps we need to take. And I think it's almost finding the courage to take those action steps rather than hiding behind prayer. So there's nothing wrong with praying. But what are the actions that you're taking after praying? So thank you. So there's a question, and please, for our audience, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask. We have an expert in the house on fertility, and I'm sure she'll be able to answer your questions. So the question is, does alcohol for men interfere with sperm counts?
Yes, it does. And I think this is kind of sometimes prevalent to some of our men who I've heard many years. Sometimes people attribute infertility that it's more or less like a woman's problem. Culturally, when you're trying, and usually when you are at a gathering, people don't look at the men; they look at the woman to say, "Oh, what's happening here?" So, but it takes two. And people have, science and research and studies have actually shown that, alcohol, interferes with the quality of the sperm.
Wow.
And so does weight. Men, the weight, sometimes, people attribute wealth about, when you have a big pot belly, it's synonym with having good wealth, but it's not, especially if you're trying to, conceive. As well. So so what is not, even some clinics where funding is being given out, historically it used to be the woman, but now if the man himself is drinking or smoking, they can actually be denied funding because of that.
Oh wow. I'm glad that the world is catching up with this, knowing that it's not just, fertility is not just a woman problem. It's both, it's the couple.
Yes.
So man and woman. So I'm glad that we're catching up on that. Yeah. So the other thing I've heard is also putting laptops on your laps for men. Is that a myth or is that true?
Well, it's to what, so it's not that you can't put laptops on your leg, it's to what extent. And since the lockdown, there has been some studies that have actually shown that the sperm count of male infertility has actually increased.
Oh wow.
During the lockdown period. Why? Because most people were working from home, and people have sit. You can conveniently sit at your desk for 6 hours without getting up. So therefore, the testicles where the sperm resides has to be at a certain temperature. So if you're sitting down on your testicles for 6 hours in the heat, cumulatively, it does have an effect on the quality. So what I usually advise is that if you do work at home, you need to time yourself to get up intermittently, to walk around, aerate, make sure that you're not wearing any tight fitting. In Africa, if you remember, if you're old school, they will say you have to pack it.
Oh my God.
And when you pack it so you have these tight pants, and as a result, because but you're meant to, I would say it's the reverse. You have to wear comfy clothes. Wow. You have to aerate it.
Okay.
And it's for boys. It's not just for boys. You need to teach the boys from a young age to look after themselves, to look after their genitals.
Wow.
It needs to be clean. Okay. Some cultures, as you know, we Africans, we circumcise. Some do. Maybe not even some Africans, but for some cultures who don't, sometimes if it's unhygienic as well, there's a risk of infection because the male organ emits sperm and urine from the same outlets. But we women, our urethra is different from our vagina, if I may, but. So when you have constant infection, it affects the quality, and the quantity, the count, and just this whole sperm in general.
Wow. This is, in fact, it looks like we need more men on this call, because it's like we've clearly shown that it's not just the woman problem.
Yes.
It's not. Yes. And it's so sad that for many, many years, women who have been waiting have gone through trauma, gone through ridicule. No one, like you said, no one's looking at the man. Everyone's looking at the woman. Why haven't you given us a child? When in fact it could have been the man who had all these issues. So I'm really glad that there's more awareness about male infertility and not just female. Okay. So let's talk a bit about a few controversial subjects when it comes to fertility. So a couple has been waiting. Maybe they found that there's a problem with the man and the woman, or for whatever reason they've decided to get a donor. So I think there's surrogacy and is it getting a donor for eggs? So I want you to walk us through, is that bad in the Christian faith? Should you get a surrogate to help you, what's the word now? I'm looking for the word. Basically carry the baby.
Yes.
Can you get a sperm donor or all of those things? I want you to talk, because sometimes I feel like because we are so set in our ways.
Yes.
And I must be the one to, so what are the other options? Yeah, let's talk about that.
So the thing is, time has changed. And I know, as human beings, there's always a push and pull when it comes to change. Some change, it takes time for change to happen. And this has been a situation over the years, even in the field of those who practice fertility. So we have, I usually say, if I were to kind of be a little bit controversial, we have some women who probably are not in a relationship, or have chosen not to be in a relationship, but they want to have a family. And so obviously the way for them to have a family is to obviously, use donated sperm. And And there are clinics that are actually offer that service, and for me, every child matters.
Yeah.
However, it will be in a situation whereby, unfortunately, if in instances where there has been a rape and all that. So ideally, you don't necessarily know the father or whoever's done the rape, but if you choose to carry that child to and birth, in a way, it can be, even though the situation is not as pleasant, but it's the donor, because it just you probably will never know who the father is.
Yeah.
So are you going to turn around and say, well, every child is loved.
Yeah.
And I always say, and it's all about raising awareness, and with good counseling, it matters, so that you've got a place where you can air your fears.
Yes.
Of what people might say and what people might not say. And I always, if they need sperm, so you have some men who probably had a cancer, and sadly, they've gone through chemotherapy, and in the process of, now you can actually freeze your sperm, but time past you couldn't. So once you've undergone chemotherapy, unfortunately, that individual is rendered infertile.
Wow.
So the alternative will be to seek donor sperm, and it's the same for the woman. Some women, some women have probably gone through premature menopause to not fault of their own. They just realized. I've had a 26-year-old this week who actually came to clinic. I scanned her. She's got no follicles. She's got no eggs. 26, been married for 4 years, been trying for 4 years. And when I did the blood test, it was 0.0, which means nothing. That is a premature ovarian failure. So she, once she's kind of gone away, because it is a shocking news, they need to go home, process it. And, sometimes some people need to grieve. And then once they've come back, then, they can start the process of having donor gametes. So the circumstances to which people have donor sperm, no couple will stand up and say, oh, by the way, I just want to have donor sperm and donor egg. They don't start that way. It's a very tough and difficult decision. So when that situation presents itself, what we need to do is to support them, and with love, because that is not probably the desired place that they would like to be. And it's all about raising awareness. We need to let people know that, I always say as a joke that if you have to genetically test everyone in your family, you'll be surprised that you're not related to so many people who you're calling uncle, auntie, niece, auntie. You look at them and think, I'm not sure what that nose is, but everybody's family.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. And thank God for people like you who are raising awareness, who are breaking some of the stereotypes or the shame culture around donor surrogacy and all of that. So thank you for the work you do. So let's talk about IVF. Does everyone need IVF? So if someone has tried for how many years should you start to go down the IVF? Of course it will differ for people, but from your professional analysis, tell us, does everyone need IVF?
Not really, to be honest. IVF has just been a word coined, generally, whether you need, under IVF, you have ovulation induction. There are actually very lesser fertility treatments that we can facilitate with, and you don't need that intervention. IVF is quite invasive, it's quite thorough. So depending on the reason why you're here, like a couple I saw today, they've been trying. She's got a hormonal problem, and all she needs to do is to take some tablets to grow a follicle, and the husband's sperm is very good. And we have two ways. Some of them, they just need to go and have a timed intercourse, and it does it for them. The insemination is the same. Sometimes if they're having regular cycles, we just need to monitor when the follicle is maturing. Because believe it or not, sometimes not every woman understands their cycle. Not every woman knows when to actually have intercourse. Believe it or not, and I know this might sound a little bit silly. You know, many years ago, I know have been told that some people actually have intercourse when you're having your period. I've had it before, so they don't know that, you know, when you're having your period, that's you're not even fertile. And so many people have actually have abided by that rule of thumb. So when the first thing is that, do you know your cycle? Do you, because when you don't know when you're ovulating, when you don't know the length of your cycle, so those are kind of rudimentary.
Okay, there you go.
I can see, I think I'm touching mine. That is what they need to know about. And once you fix that, in most cases, it works well. Now, occasionally, whereby there's a problem with the sperm, then that may be when, you know, they need to have IVF, whereby, you know, we have to give them some injections, collect the sperm, collect the egg, and put the egg and sperm together, create an embryo, and then put one of those embryos back into the cavity. Okay, so that in itself is a lesson. So IVF is not just when people come in, you thrust them into it. We try as much as possible to apply the lesser course before you jump right into it.
Wow.
Put mine.
Your charger.
My charger.
Wow, this is really eye-opening. And so, someone in the chat says this is knowledge. Wow, thank you. And it's so true. Knowledge is power. And I think sometimes, because, you know, of course, there are situations where people, you don't know your cycle, you just get pregnant. Every time you get pregnant, right? But there are some who, it doesn't work like that. You need to know the right time when you're ovulating and all of those things. So some people have it easy, and some need to, you know, do a bit more. And we can't explain why that is, but that's life. So I had a few more questions around, you know, the work you do. What advice would you have for a couple who maybe it's the man who's like, no, I don't want to get checked, I don't want to and the woman is willing to, you know, she's going to get checked, but the spouse, so let me just say spouse, does not want to get checked, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with me. How can the couple navigate?
I'm telling you, that is the bulk of what I do, convincing our men. And the first thing they say is that, you know what, my mom had five kids, but usually I say, well, that's not your, you know, that's not your, you know, and funny enough, it's just the educated ones that really are very, if I may use that word, I'm sorry to say, a little bit obstinate. And you know why? It's because of fear of what they might find. Fear of them being the one who is actually the reason why. And this, and I'm sure probably people can testify to it. Sometimes men are not necessarily, you know, it's sperm and pin. It doesn't sometimes. It's not sometimes a word that rolls off the tongue very easily in some men. You know, and I'm telling you, some couples sometimes find it difficult to talk about sex, to talk about their, you know, mechanically, you know, and all, you know, especially when there's a problem. It could be with an erection, it could be, and then, you know, when things like this happen, sometimes men can be a little bit defensive. So, and that's their way of protecting themselves, of not wanting to talk about it, but in their own private, you know, they're actually sad. But these are things that you know, we need to talk about, and sometimes I kind of have to see the couple together and just say it as it is. And you'll be amazed is that once you've set that, you know, being the third wheel in that relationship, it just comes out, because he might say, well, you know, I've got like maybe diabetes, you know, men who've got diabetes, heart problem, and they're on medication. They will have problem with erection, because sometimes the blood flow to the penis is not as such, because of some neuropathy as well. So, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, some men had undescended testicles. The testicles did not drop early enough into the scrotum. So therefore, as time went by, they just found out that they've got no sperm. You know, so which is why I always say when you have boys, you need to make sure. I mean, I've got a 19-year-old. Every now and then, I always ask him, make sure that you know, have you, you know, when he's coming, you say, "Oh, mom, here you go again." I said, "Yes, I'm going to have grandchildren. Yes, grandchildren for me." So I'm not ashamed to say, because this is my profession, and I know as mothers, you know, we need to, in a way that probably won't embarrass them, and you know, but we need to keep the subjects going.
Yeah,
because fertility is it's not I try not to call it an illness, but it's prevalent to anyone. You have all these young millennials, or what they call them, getting married and thinking that they will conceive just at the snap of their finger, and they're not.
Yeah.
There's always and there's so much food that we're eating that is so laden with chemicals.
Wow. Okay, that's a whole
that's another
conversation.
Yes,
so much.
That's enough. Yes,
there's so much to ask. Okay, so there's a question: can fertility issues be genetically?
Yes.
Can be genetic, passed from a parent to a child?
Absolutely.
Oh wow.
Especially for men. So for men who have got like, there are some conditions whereby if you have got low sperm count, and we usually do a we do a genetic testing called karyotype and chromosome. And if we've picked up that there's a karyotype defect, if you have a boy, you will pass on that genetic condition. Wow. So it means that if they have a boy, potentially that boy could have the same situation as the dad. So yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. So what about secondary infertility?
Yes.
What causes that?
Funny enough, I think the expectation for secondary infertility is sometimes a bit high, because especially when you've conceived like that and you're trying for another baby. But the thing is, people have to understand that, you know, when you've had your first child, usually if it's like a couple of years later, your eggs are not the same, the sperms are not the same. You could have put them a little bit more weight. So the situation at that time is not comparable to when you probably were young, or 5 years ago. Yeah. So sometimes they put a lot of pressure, and I have actually, after a couple whereby, you know, they had secondary infertility, and when he did his sperm test, he had no sperm. Oh, wow. It wasn't as if he was ill, but he just didn't have any sperm. Oh, yeah. So whether it's secondary or primary infertility, as long as we're fertile, you know, we need to keep on, I call it MOT, you need to keep on checking yourself. Oh, wow. As women, whether you're having children or not, you need, just like you go to the gynecologist to check, check your, you know, and so have men. Men, as we know, will not just wake up and say, "Oh, I'm going to check." You will have to sometimes drag them along. Yeah, but it needs to be done. Yeah, definitely done. Wow, it needs to be done. Yes. Okay, there's another question. I'm loving the engagement tonight. Thank you, everyone. No, because this is a very important topic that not so many people are talking about, you know. Yes. So Fabulous Funky says, are there foods or natural recipes that can help with fertility? You know what? For me, I don't. I'm very cautious about. For me, food is to, if you're overweight, to eat healthy. But I don't think there's one kind of food attributed to that. If you eat more of strawberries, your eggs will, none of that. There's no scientific evidence. But what it is that, you know, to have a healthy lifestyle, of course, you know, we need to make sure that what we eat, we need to be mindful of it. To make sure that our BMI is within, you know, but there's no super food that is going to enhance your fertility. Those are complementary therapies to help your lifestyle. But we're born with all our eggs. You're not going to eat any fruit to make any more eggs. Right. Okay. But I thought, you know, there's this thing in Yoruba land about if you eat yam, you have to, or something like I don't even know what it was. Something. Maybe into asaro. Oh, yes. Or something. Oh, well. No. Right. Okay. I think 2 more questions around fertility.
If someone, I don't know, are part of your patients people who have probably had recurring miscarriages, and so do you also see patients like that?
Yes.
And what's
Oh
your
yes. Especially for those, I think what is sometimes a little bit devastating is especially when they've had lots of fertility treatments and it keeps on happening. It's it's like you're there but not there, and it could be early miscarriage. Whenever it happens, it's to them it's a bereavement of a child that is lost, and some do bounce back, and sometimes it takes a long time to recover for them to keep on going. So the guidelines will normally say that once you've had two, well, the guidelines will say three. However, if I know someone who's had two, I always advocate for them to do some blood tests, because it could be that there's some genetic, and always sometimes you always ask about history. Did mom, do you have anybody in your lineage who took time to conceive? Do you have any history of miscarriage? Because sometimes it could be hereditary. So when we take a history, we sometimes when we're asking about mother or siblings, it's just for us to have a little bit of an idea if there's a pattern, so we will send off some they're quite expensive blood tests to check, lots of genetic testing, and more than likely, if there's anything that is needed, it may just be that they need injections or to thin the blood, or some high. So yes, it can be addressed. Sometimes they need some progesterone, and in more cases than not, or sometimes when they do, if they're pregnant, sometimes we need to stitch the cervix, because it may not necessarily be fertility. It might just be mechanical, where the cervix is incompetent to actually carry the pregnancy.
Wow.
So it's just for us to know exactly before they start treatment. The moment they conceive, we work with the obs and gynae to make sure that, and in most cases they carry their pregnancies to full term.
Wow. Thank you again for the work you do. I'm just in awe.
I love it.
I'm in awe of doctors and nurses. Doctors, nurses, and teachers. They're like at the top of my list. So well done. Okay, so and you've kind of touched on it, someone who's maybe gone through this process, they've been on this journey. How can they keep faith alive? How can they take care of their mental health as they are going through this journey? What would be your advice for someone on this journey?
Well, the thing is, the most important thing is support. You have to, and the thing is, the issue is that sometimes it's who you talk to, because this is quite sensitive, and you know how things are. The moment you say you're trying, people can take that information and you can go anywhere with it. It could be something to say, look at your friend, and so you have to be very careful who you share it with. And sometimes you need to seek counseling, which is a very good, the very good counseling that I did with you in trying to, when people have gone through miscarriages, or not even they've been trying to conceive, they're in a place whereby sometimes it's it's very disheartening. And you do an incredible, the incredible work that you do, that I have actually sourced that in that support. It's you can't put a price on it. And what that does, it brings clarity. It sometimes it unburdens the load so that they can focus on the treatment. Because once you've been able to channel and have a safe place to dump or talk about it, then that takes the burden off you, so that you're able to, and that is a lot of a weight off their shoulders.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for bringing that to the forefront, because I think what most people, I mean, from my role as a grief and loss specialist, some people don't even realize that multiple, trying and failing in quotes is a loss.
It is.
Lots of dreams, lots of expectation, not
Absolutely.
just, lots of meeting your baby. it's a loss.
Money,
So,
time, energy,
all of those things. So, like you said, before you jump into it again, take those emotions, process them, so that it's almost like your emotions have come back to neutral in some ways, and then you start again.
Sure.
Because if you go in with all of those unresolved emotions, it's just burden upon burden, and our emotions are connected to our physical well-being as well.
Absolutely.
And so there's a link. Absolutely. And then that might even be the reason why you're still not. I mean, of course, there are many factors that, as you've clearly said, but that could, if one can deal with the emotional aspect, it can go a long way. Okay, well, there's another question. Good evening. Thanks a lot for the session. Can you shed more light on DHEA supplements and how this can contribute to fertility?
So DHEA is a steroid. And, hypothetically, it's a steroid that is meant to help mature women who have been trying for such a long time. And what is meant to kind of, in theory, is to help the quality of the eggs, and also help the dynamics of the uterus. So if I were to be kind of plain, to make the cavity a lot more sticky, so that when the embryo is transferred, it will implant. So there is a lot of controversy around it, because it also has can cause health issues on the back end of that. Oh, wow. So when fertility clinic, I know there are some fertility clinics that use it, but if you go to the HFEA, which is the regulatory body that gives us our license, they're in a category of add-ons, and needs to be used cautiously, because it can, as you're trying to benefit from it, there's always a downside to it. So you need to weigh the pros and the cons, whilst using it.
Wow. Thank you. I hope that shed some light, some platters. I hope that helps. Glow with Gauze, I can see you thinking. What are you thinking about? Share with us. Let's know what you're thinking about. Okay, so we're gonna segue a bit into your journey in the Super Working Mom Academy.
Yes.
If I can remember, I can't remember. I think you joined in 2016. I can't. It's been a while now, and you've still
more than that.
Yeah.
When you were allotted Omoba, and and I was doing, and then I will never forget your picture, just like this, and I was thinking about you, and I was thinking about that picture in the kitchen today, and I just saw, and you were just blogging. It was before 2016. Wait. 2007.
Wow.
Before, when you were
before I started using it, when I was hiding, I was still hiding.
I used to read your blogs, and it was so fascinating. And then I joined the Facebook.
Yes.
Then obviously it transitions to when you closed it down, and then
you've been with us for a while now.
Yes. I'm a founding member.
See, we love founding members. We'll come back to your question. There's a question. We'll come back to that. I wanted us to flow with this thought. So, so you're right. You joined from when I was blogging in those days, to when we were on Facebook, and then we had the academy. What would you say have been some of the tangible results that you have seen as being? I mean, you're still here with us. How many years later? So, what are some tangible results that you have benefited from being a member of the Super Working Mom Academy?
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, to be honest, you join a group, and you sometimes, what's in the group is it's just things, it's either they're talking about things or they're but the reason why I like this group is that it's strategic, and nobody comes into this group remains the same. I mean, when I came, and I know sometimes people might say, it's about the money, and one thing you've always said is that, if you don't pay for, you value for what you pay, and that's and. To be honest, I probably started of those naysayers to say, how you go again. But you know what? now, for me, being on the DTP, and that was just a game changer. For me. It's made me more confident in what I do. I mean, I get invited, even though I'm not necessarily somebody who's, as you can see, I'm not a digital guru. When people invite me, do you know, and I'm saying this for every, and I know these things for every life thing. That's why I was bracing myself to say, okay, Yemisi, how we go again? And you know what? I've learned to roll with it. To say, you know what? I will get there.
Yeah.
Because, this is the thing about when you're, faults and all, and yes, I'm not necessarily, but you have taught us to in the little thing that to do, to be true, to be steadfast, and to be consistent.
Yes.
And my and I've seen that too, all through, and I've seen it in the group, and I've seen it in you. You've been the leader that has shown by example. And the thing is, in times where things, and it's not even when things are not plain sailing, we've seen it as well. And those are the building blocks that we've all seen and grown together. So this is a community. And I always tell people that, you know what, you can't stay on the sideline and grow. You have to be, and there's all levels of where you can start off from. And then, as you say, you jump in. So there's so many facets to it. And I mean, I can't even put a price on it. Even when I didn't, sometimes was not financially, when I thought, oh, maybe I should come out. It's like I said to myself, is it the prayer that I will have to come away from? I mean, no can do.
I like that.
That is our lifeline. And the thing is, there's always, it's a group that is not still. There are always new things that we upscale. I mean, I love the 4 o'clock, and I'm yet to join that. I'm coming. So there's a freshness to it. There's a newness to it. So and I love it because we're not doing the same thing that we're doing 10 years ago. There's always something new that helps you to upscale and keeps it fresh. So
we like that fresh newness.
We keep it fresh.
For anyone wondering, like what is the Super Academy? It's really an online mentoring platform for Christian mothers and women who want to maximize their time so they can manifest their big dreams. Because as we know, mothers, women, people are trying to just pull us in different directions. But at the end of the day, we still have a calling upon our lives. Absolutely. And what we basically show you is how to work in that calling. So that's what, in a nutshell, the Super Academy is about. We have women from all over the world, Canada, Nigeria, UK, USA, Australia. Where haven't I mentioned? Have I mentioned Canada? Women from all over the world who are a part of this community. And as you've heard from Mrs Adegbile, she's one of our founding members. So, and she's been with us ever since. The academy is, I think, 10 years now or 9 years. You've been with us since. So thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Now there are a few more questions that we've missed. Someone says, what are your thoughts about fertility supplements?
Some have its place, and sometimes some of you don't. One thing I always say: don't break the bank. When you're trying, supplements as you eat healthily. And all the supplements you need is your well woman or well man. If you're trying to conceive, all you need is folic acid, and that's all you need. That's all you need. Don't when you begin to add so many things. And I think if I may address this as well, especially with African people, they will send you something from home, and they've said, drink this, add this, and some, they mean well, but some of it can actually cause more harm. So just be mindful. Be mindful.
Wow. Thank you for that. So Glow with God says, because I was asking her what she was thinking about. I'm amazed at the great job and help she's rendering. I tell you, such a blessing you are.
Thank you, my board of directors.
And off the back of what God just said, one of the things we talk about in the Super Working Mom Academy is the mountain of influence we've been called to.
Yes.
Right. So you clearly know your mountain of influence.
Yes.
Family, around policies, when it comes to fertility and all. And I can say you are sitting well on that mountain. So please don't let anything shake you off that mountain of family and education, because that's what you do. You educate us about fertility issues. You help the family unit to grow. So please just stay solidly.
Thank you so much. With the help of Super Working Mom. Yes. We're a village.
Yeah. So okay, I think the Lighton Platter asked another question about the DHEA. So what are the possible downsides of DHEA?
I think it has to do with your organs, because it's steroids. When you have steroids can have an impact on swelling. It can impact, it's not a medication that you're meant to use long term. Your liver is what gets of all the junk. So when you have a buildup of steroid in your liver, it can cause retention of fluid where you're swelling up. And actually sometimes you can actually be putting on weight and all that. So, and that's just a few. Yeah. So I know infertility sometimes it's being used, but some ladies they get it online and they just stay on it incessantly.
Oh, wow.
Even though they said it's meant to improve the egg quality, but everything is all hypothesis. So be very, very careful.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Right. So Adejoke, our sales madam, is telling us that we also have members in Tanzania. Yeah, thank you for the reminder.
Yes. Oh, yes.
South Africa, we're all over the world, Super Working Moms to the world. Our aim is to be the #1 Christian mentoring platform.
Oh, we get there.
Sorry, let me say that again. Our aim is to be the #1 mentoring platform for Christian women and mothers. So watch out for us.
Yes,
we are coming.
Yes.
Okay, we're rounding up now because wow, we've been here for like an hour. I mean, let's forget about the issues we had in the beginning. What would be your advice to anyone who needs help? Not just anyone, a Christian woman, Christian mother who needs help when it comes to manifesting her calling, and how the Super Working Mom Academy can help them. What would be your advice?
I would say, like with everything you do, sometimes you may want a taster, and we sometimes get it. We've got room for that as well. Yeah. So we're very accommodating, and we have lots of modules that you can actually take in your own time. Yeah. Historically, remember Detola, we used to have to log on and you would train us.
Yes.
Like you'd be saying 7 o'clock, we sit down there till 2 hours. And and then you'll be saying, "Are you still there?" Yes, we're still here, teacher. So some of you coming on board now, you've got it easy. She has painstakingly compiled all these modules that you can go through, and I'm telling you, it's value. You cannot put a price on it. I've kind of how would I say, gone to some other platforms to actually ask about, some of what we do. Yeah. And when you hear the price, you will run, not even, you will run. So what you're getting, is so much value for money, which will help you as a woman, help you as a wife, as a mother. And one thing I can say is that we're very well rounded. We look after your spiritual life. We don't impose on you, whatever your faith is, we are Christian women. We pray. So everything we do is on the platform of prayer. And one of the sort of things that we're family. Yeah. It's all for one and one for all. And the love there, our retreats is phenomenal. Yeah. So we, Super Working Mom caters for every single activity of life. Yeah. Body, soul, and mind. Yes. Don't wait. Join.
Exactly. Join. Yes. Thank you for that. So we currently have a waiting list now. So if you want to get on the list and be one of the first to know when we open, I think we'll be opening next in June. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adejoke, or somewhere around May, June. I can't remember. Yes. But just go to academy.superworkingmom.com and you see a form there. where you can join the waiting list, and then you'll be one of the first to know about it when we log on. But thank you so much. This has been amazing. How can people find you or connect with you? Maybe someone here has been listening and is like, oh, I need to maybe connect with you to get more help on fertility and all. How can people connect with you? Where can they reach you?
I think I'm an old-fashioned, you have to phone me. You see? Like when Adejoke said she messaged me on Instagram. I said, Insta what?
No, we don't want to give out your phone number.
Okay,
except so you have a work line. Should we?
Yes.
Give
So
out your
yes.
Work line?
So to be honest, you can email me.
Okay,
you can email me, and so I will.
I like that old school. Like phone me.
So just send me a text. Because there's so many facets to how people can connect you. When they say, Auntie, I messaged you on Insta.
Insta, like what? Nah.
I'm very myopic,
Yes.
and that comes with, yes, I streamline my. So yes.
Good. So is that what's the email address?
So you can email me on yemtoks, YEMTOKS at AOL.com.
AOL. Oh my God, that's so old school.
That is old school.
AOL.
Yes. People who use AOL, they are authentic and genuine. American online, no yahoo.com. No Yahoo.
Oh my God, AOL.
AOL. Yes,
so that's
American online.
American online.
Yes, so you can imagine when the desktop first came and the back was like that from there to the sitting room. Yeah, that's the computer.
I'm still surprised that AOL exists. I am surprised.
I know.
AOL exists.
Yes.
So it's Yems. Can someone write that out, please?
Yemtoks. YEMTOKS at AOL.com.
So say that again.
Yemtoks. YEMTOKS at AOL.com.
At AOL, not Yahoo.
No Yahoo. No Yahoo. It's AOL. American online.
Oh my gosh. I am rolling on the floor.
Yes, so
what? No, there's an M.
There's an M. Yeah.
It's YEM. Yes. YEM Talks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adejoke.
Thank you so much.
I am laughing. Just this AOL alone has just blasted me out into outer space.
Yes.
Well, we love you. We love you.
Oh, it goes to show that you can be mature and still mature and still rocking it. Yes,
we're still rocking it.
Yes,
please. So see, we're very what's the word now? Embracing community.
Yes.
From young, if you're young adults, more mature, we have something for you. And I like what the Bible says in 1st or 2nd Timothy about how the older women should guide. We're all about
the units. Yes.
So thank you so much. This has been amazing.
It's a pleasure.
Any last words for us before we go?
So my last word would say, shine and thrive where you are on your way to where you're going. And that has always been my quote, which means, take baby steps. You've got a dream, you've got a vision. And, when Coach Detola posted that you're never too old, to start, from, it hit me. And I thought, oh my days, what is this? What is this? And that's the truth. You'll take baby steps towards your dream. Start today. Because tomorrow might be too late. Just keep going.
Keep going. Wow, thank you. This has been so profound. You have shared. I've learned something new today. There are things that I did not know that I've learned today. I'm glad. And yes, the Wellspring Place has corrected me. It is not Timothy, it is Titus that talks about the older women mentoring. Clearly, I need to read my Bible more. But thankfully, we have Bible scholars in our community.
That is how we do community.
Yes, that's why it's good to roll in a community because they will keep you on the right path.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thanks for the feedback.
Oh, thank you so much.
And if you're watching the replay, leave us a comment. Let's know what you got out of this. By the grace of God, next month we'll be bringing another special, amazing guest. You know, what we try to do with the Super Lucky Mom Convo is to showcase ordinary women doing extraordinary things by the help of Holy Spirit. And that's what it's all about. And yes, just like you've mentioned, shine and thrive where you are on your way to where you're going. So thank you everyone for joining. And we look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you again for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you
God
so
bless
much.
you.
It's a pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of
Have
your
a good evening
and your weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.